Alrighty, as usual, just a bit of a sound check first before we get started. See if maybe I can get a little bit of the game audio in the background this time. Let's see. Of course, there would happen to be an upgrade or something on it. Well, anyway, while we're waiting, welcome to the second stream of this December, friends. Once again, it's more Rogue Trader, and this time it's going to be a bit topical tonight. Speculations on the confirmation that Henry Cavill seems to be getting his way, and Amazon, fittingly enough, is greenlighting a Warhammer series with him in charge. That's going to be interesting. Especially, who knows, does this bode well in terms of representing the franchise? Cavill has in the past made it clear that, he is very much faithful to the content and the vision of Warhammer, even, to some degree more so than Games Workshop these days. But Amazon is Amazon. Then again, given the poor reception of their handling of Tolkien, maybe they will have learned their lesson. And maybe that is why they've decided to basically let him produce as well as star in this. It really does seem like he's got a lot of creative control in this one. And I suppose we'll be finding out what that comes down to in the end. Will Cavill get his way? And for that matter, will the fans get their way in this case? Since they seem to have an actual champion for their IP in this go round. I guess, if anybody's interested, by all means, put in the chat, how were you introduced to Warhammer? Or, name any other sort of, either space fantasy or sort of space opera storyline. Doesn't have to be grim dark. I mean, for me, I was actually introduced to it by my youngest brother. He was into Dawn of War for a while. And it just so happened the Necrons are his favorite faction. And one day he decided to talk my ear off about the Necrons. And so, out of curiosity, I basically found the Warhammer 40k wiki, the official fan wiki for stuff. And basically, I found myself reading page after page after page, and so there you have it. That's how I got introduced to Warhammer. You could not pay me to actually get into the tabletop, though. I am not prepared to sink that much money into the minis, no matter what the prices are. And I've just never been into war games, tabletop or otherwise. But I am an avid lover of lore. I mean, it's kind of funny in a way because, my channel is mostly known these days for the L5R content, and I was only introduced to that because a coworker of mine knew that I was writing my second book, Golden Steel, which was, a samurai historical fiction, and apparently one of her sons was big into L5R back in the day, and she literally just gave me a series of novels set in that universe, and that's how that happened. As for Star Wars, it's pretty straightforward. my dad took my brothers and I to the theaters when they were first premiering the special edition. And, looking back on it now, it was the one with that horrendous first CGI Jabba the Hutt. But man, I didn't care because the rest of that movie the rest of those movies were so goddamn good. But keeping on the subject of space operas, what would be some other really good ones with like a similar sort of expansive scale? Because I never really paid much attention to like sci-fi TV, so I missed out on I was never that into like I wasn't a big TV watcher apart from like Toonami, because I was a big anime fan in high school and college. Still am, but just less so these days. But so I never got introduced to Battlestar Galactica, either version. Obviously, I knew Trek by simple virtue of cultural osmosis, but never really got into it. And I think only a few years ago I discovered Legend of the Galactic Heroes, which is specifically the original 80s series. Because I've seen clips from the new one. It's definitely cleaner, but it's a nitpick of mine, but I so resent the use of CG in 2D animation. They found ways to integrate it really well, but it's just never so good looking that it stands out, unfortunately, and kind of draws attention to it. And I think it's because the style of anime is so stylized that any attempt to replicate it with CG just is a dismal failure. Good grief, this is taking its time. Damn it, I should have tested this beforehand. There always seems to be... with me, there always seems to be something that seems to either go wrong or it's not quite what I would like it. Like, the last stream went well, but, it would have been nice if I could get at least a little background audio of the game. Really sorry for this sort of disappointing start on this one. But yeah, at this point, with Cavill seems like a pretty sincere in his fandom. So, I have every confidence that he has the best will in the world with this series. Again, it really is just a question of just how much free reign Amazon, and specifically the focus group types, are willing to give him. Like the fact that he's in the producer's chair for this one, he does have a controlling interest. Plus the fact that he's going to be the lead actor, he's got a lot of star power. So if they alienate him to the point where he just decides in the middle of production that he'll leave, that almost guarantees that whatever this project is, it will end in dismal failure. Because at this point, especially the Warhammer fandom, they know Cavill is their guy. Right. And if Amazon basically gives him a deal that he doesn't like, well, then they are going to be up shit creek without a paddle. Pardon my French. Oh, goddammit. Hurry up, will you? These people, the folks that come into this are not just doing this to look at a damned motionless loading screen. I guess, again, it's really going to be interesting. I don't think we've got any dates at this point. They only just announced a few days ago, including Cavill himself, that this has been greenlit. So at this early stage, I guess all that there is just speculation. And I'm often fond of saying to myself that, speculation is fun, but it's pointless. And alternately, speculation may be pointless, but it's fun. But yeah, I guess, there's so few scant details at this point in the game, but man, I guess really, like, what would he do? He says that he's already got like a starting point, like what kind to like a sort of frame of reference. The question is, would he go with the Space Marine for the start one? It would make sense. They're sort of the poster boys of the setting, but it might be a bit too obvious. I forget which army because I know he's talked about this before. I forget which army he said was sort of his favorite, the one that he plays regular. I know there was a video where he talked about painting a Custodes model. Skunk's Workshop, welcome. As far as I know, it's as far as it knows, it's a show. It is a show. It's going to be an Amazon Prime thing. So, let me see. Oh, boy, this is slow as molasses. Again, I apologize, folks. Just let this goddamn thing hurry up already. Oh, well. I mean, this is even more annoying than the previous one, because at least, there was all that fun character creation stuff to go through. I don't know. I guess, Space Marine centric series would seem like the obvious route, but who knows? It's obviously like a great appeal for cool factor, but maybe an Imperial Guard story to start out the gate would be better, because it really brings home a lot of the grim darkness, because these are just ordinary guys, and they don't have the same either the sense of honor or just the mental conditioning of the Space Marines, that they will actually, suffer the mental fatigue of having to put up with the setting they live in. So, and that would be very, maybe relatable isn't the right word, but certainly it would be more sympathetic. So maybe it would be better if he were going with a guard story first. Yeah, I think the most likely sort of story that he might do for this, is just based on what I know of the setting and relative appeal. The most likely it would be Space Marine or Guard. Then I guess if I were to go down the tiers, because Xenos and Chaos are probably way low down. So we're specifically talking about Imperial factions. An Inquisitor story might be interesting, because it would have the mystery element to it. Because I think this has been pointed out, especially with regards to the Eisenhorn books, that Inquisitor stories are kind of like detective stories in the Warhammer setting. And then, that would be sort of in the second tier most likely choice for Cavill to do a 40k story in. From there on, it's all just not that likely. It's, the Mechanicus, the Sororitas, the Titan Legions, or the Night Houses. But yeah, I think the very most, the Navy, most likely, my guess is it's got that his show, it's going to be either Space Marine centric or Guard centric. That would be, I think, the smart money. Anybody know anything more about in the chat? Know anything more about the situation? Can offer their own speculations. I mean, it would. Rogue Trader could also be a thing, which is kind of apropos given the game that I'm trying to do for the stream tonight. But I think that too would be, maybe not as unlikely as the other Imperial factions, but Rogue Trader are not given as much focus or stories in the lore and the setting. So I would definitely still put it below like an Inquisitor story. But I guess the advantage of a Rogue Trader story for a Warhammer series would be both the explorational aspect and like the Inquisitor, you can basically have a diverse supporting cast. Yes, because the things about both Inquisitors and Rogue Traders, they can both acquire these retinues of all kinds of characters from all across the Imperium, and in the case of like specifically Rogue Trader the game, you can even get 2 Eldar, 1 Dark Eldar, are in your retinue. Though by God, I don't know, you'd either have to be slipping towards chaos or pretty confident in yourself to think that it would be a good idea to put a Dark Eldar anywhere near your ship or your crew. Hell, I wouldn't trust a Dark Eldar even with servitors, and those poor bastards, for the most part, don't even. Well, some servitors are aware as sort of a punishment, but some of them are literally just lobotomized, so they wouldn't feel much, and the Drukhari wouldn't get much satisfaction out of them. But still, I wouldn't trust a Drukhari near even a servitor, because you never know what those depraved bastards would come up with. So I guess the only question is, if we're going by the Space Marine or Guard as the most likely factions to base a story on, what like a chapter / regiment would it be? If it were Guard, I suppose Cadia would be good, because especially if they could like do a post Fall of Cadia, because you can get some good pathos out of that. The survivors of a destroyed world, unless he decides to just adapt Gaunt's ghosts, because you can get that same thing with the Tanith First and Only. If he really wanted to go hard into the Grimdark, he probably would pick I'd probably go with like the Death Corps for obvious reasons. That, and they're sort of the fan favorite precisely because they are sort of one of the big poster boy factions for just how miserable the 40k setting is. And of course, you could probably even get some dark humor out of, like, if you include a scene of a Kriegsman beating up a heretic with a shovel. God damn it, over a quarter of an hour. I really should have tried launching this game beforehand. And let's see. What would be, like, if you were going Guard? I guess, if you want... Oh, the Catachans are another sort of fan favorite. He could go with that. Those are really the only ones I can think of off the top of my head that have that kind of star power, that aren't like tied to a specific storyline. Like, yes, the Krieg are tied specifically to Vrax, but they can show up in a lot of other theaters. The Kriegsmen are very big on signing up for all kinds of theaters across the Imperium, because they really want their penance by dying in battle. Yeah, apart from them, the Catachans and the Cadians, those are sort of the big ones. You could probably do a thrilling story with the Elysian Drop Troopers. I mean, if you wanted, I guess, like the... well, the Armageddon Steel Legion, maybe, but they're so greatly tied to the Armageddon Wars. And again, I guess it really would depend on whether Cavill wants to do an original thing or like adapt a pre-existing storyline, either from the original like tabletop or source books or any of the novels. I'm kind of working on the assumption that he's sort of going to do his own thing, because I think it would give him a lot more freedom in terms of storytelling. So yeah, I think if it's a Guard, which I think is the second most likely that he would go with, it would be Cadian, a Kriegsman story, or Catachans, because those are sort of the Guardsmen regiments with real star power. Now, as for the Space Marines, which are the most likely simply because, poster boys for the whole damn franchise, I mean, if he is like as like a big fan, I guess it really depends. And because the Ultramarines are pretty obvious, but then again, I guess it depends on whether he falls into that camp that regards them as the Ultra Smurfs. So yeah, but I mean, it actually is a little trickier because like with the Space Marine chapters, you've got several that are like fleshed out and have a lot of. So you've out in the lore, you've got quite a few options to choose from. Like basically, if you went Space Wolves, you could have both. Because they're very easygoing guys. You can add an element of fun even amidst the grim darkness, and hey, you can appeal to all those Vikings fans. I'm specifically referring to the TV show, not the football team. Though I suppose that some of those might like it. The Salamanders, you could really then lean into the idea of the Space Marines as sort of the noble defenders, since, the Salamanders are the most humanitarian of the chapters. They actually do give a damn about the civilians. I guess the Blood Angels would make a good choice. One, but then again, I guess it depends because Warhammer Plus already did that when they had. I can never remember his name. The guy who did Hell's Reach. They did Angels of Death, which is a Blood Angel centric. I guess it would depend on whether Cavill would do it because it's already been done or not. Whether or not that would sway him. Because, like, the Blood Angels, you can get, again, a lot of pathos. I gotta pronounce that right. Pathos out of that chapter. Because of the whole Red Thirst and the Black Rage. You could really sell a story of these very tragic heroes trying to basically do their best to protect humanity while battling with an almost literal inner demon that their entire gene line has been cursed with ever since the goddamn Horus Heresy. See, I guess you could do a Dark Angel story if you really wanted to emphasize, sort of give it to a Space Marine story with intrigue, because that's very much what the Dark Angels do. And, the memes. So many memes would be made out of the whole, obsession with the Fallen and denying that they exist at the same time. Yeah. I can't imagine, the main original chapters named for the Legions, I don't think he would go with any of the others, unfortunately. The Imperial Fists are well known, but they just don't stand out as much. They're just, they're kind of like the Ultramarines, but more siege oriented, unfortunately. And even I'm sure any Fist fans who happen to tune into this tiny stream will object, but that is how a lot of folks view them. The White Scars are cool, but they're a bit obscure by comparison. Ditto for the Iron Hands, which is a shame for me because they are my favorite chapter. Because, hey, it's literally a Space Marine faction that's also a Mechanicus faction. So it's the best of both. Anyone who interested in the chat, what's your favorite faction in 40K? And, by all means, list the subgrouping. Like, if it's Space Marine, what's your favorite chapter? If you like the Orcs, what's your favorite clan? That sort of thing. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of Warhammer tonight, in more ways than one. Like, the Iron Hands are my favorite chapter, but if I were to do, a favorite faction overall, it would definitely be the Orcs, because I appreciate the grimdark, but I also do like some levity to take a break from the misery, and the Orcs are the fun guys. They're the only ones who are having fun simply because they are unable to comprehend why anybody else wouldn't think that, Crumpin is a good time. They'd probably, the Orcs don't really give much thought to what their enemies think. They'd probably be shocked if they could comprehend the fact that nobody else thinks that war is a good time. They either think of it as a hellish necessity for survival or, a stern, solemn duty. And of course, the Tyranids, they just don't think of war so much as they think of eating everything. Yeah, speaking of the Tyranids, why is it that whenever you see space sci-fi factions that go for a bio-organic look and like a biotech thing, why is it always got to be slimy and disgusting? Surely there are other ways of doing this. But maybe this is just me being annoying and nitpicky about such things. For some reason, this just popped into my head. Anyone who's familiar with the new Jedi Order series from Star Wars, the book series, the Yuuzhan Vong are totally a 40k faction transplanted into Star Wars. They're basically the Chaos Warriors if you gave them the Tyranids biotech aesthetic. I mean, they literally have this, obviously the biotech, that's sort of self-explanatory, but they also have the spiky armor. They have the weird looks because of, in this case, it's because of mutilation and surgical grafting as opposed to mutations. And they, venerate this pantheon of horrific and bloodthirsty gods. Skunk's back? Oh. Don't have a favorite because... that makes sense, yeah. 40k is pretty... It's hard to find a place to start. I wouldn't say that it is... I wouldn't say it's like a barrier to entry, but it's like, yeah, where to start? What would be a good starting place? I guess it depends. I'm assuming that you're also not willing to drop however many hundreds of bucks on tabletop minis. So let's see. For me, as a book lover, I always go to the Black Library novels. There are a couple of decent Space Marine stories, but if you want to really get an idea of what Warhammer, of the true grimdark, I would recommend a good starting point would be the Gaunt's Ghost books by Dan Abnett. And it is Gaunt exactly as it sounds. That's how it's spelled. Gaunt's Ghosts. It's basically the idea that during this particular crusade in the eastern part of the Imperium, you have this commissar called Ibrahim Gaunt, and he's put in charge of a guardsman regiment, the Tanith First, because this was the very first regiment their planet ever produced. Unfortunately, on the same day of the founding, a chaos fleet ravaged their world, effectively destroyed everyone there, and so the Tanith First are literally the only survivors of that world. And so, it's very much a very grim World War II story set in the horrendously grim, dark setting of 40k. You get sort of a band of brothers element. You also sort of have a great protagonist in the form of Gaunt, because unlike, the stereotypical commissar who just goes about shooting people because they didn't have their uniforms properly creased, or they took one backward step when faced with an enemy horde of Xenos, he's very much a sort of a not quite father to his men kind of thing, because the Tanith respect him, but there's a lot of them who also blame him because they wanted to fight for their homeworld, even if it meant dying with the planet, and Gaunt wouldn't let them. So it's not quite that close, the relations between Gaunt and the Tanith. By contrast, if you want a really soft introduction, like a good time, but it's not really, but it's not so much steeped in the grimdark, then another commissar-oriented story, Caiaphas Cain. In fact, the Caiaphas Cain books are my personal favorites, by Sandy Mitchell, I believe. Yes, that's because basically, if you're familiar with, first off, I'm wondering if you ever heard of Blackadder, sort of semi-famous, semi-famous outside of the UK. It's pretty famous in the UK. A comedy series from the 80s where Rowan Atkinson, and specifically in the 4th season, which is because there are different time periods each season. The final one is set in World War I. And Rowan Atkinson plays Edmund Blackadder as sort of this very smarmy, very snarky officer. And like he's listening to his senior commanders constantly talking about, making big pushes and getting a bunch of men killed. And he just always has these dry responses. Like really dry, almost desiccatingly dry. It's kind of like that with Kane. The big difference is that Kane, while he snarks, he's not nearly as snarky as Blackadder. And the fact is, Kane is kind of a coward, or at least he thinks he is. He does do genuinely heroic stuff, but it's usually, or at least he thinks usually, not by design. Most of the time he's trying to avoid getting assigned dangerous assignments, but he somehow ends up in dangerous situations anyway, and he somehow manages to fight his way out of them, and usually ends up taking out some significant enemy leader along the way. And so he's developed this reputation as a great hero of the Imperium, which of course means that he's signed up even more frequently for really, really dangerous missions. Yeah, I believe Sandy Mitchell's, his big inspirations besides Blackadder were this sort of well-known book series called The Flashman Papers. And sort of the main character, Harry Paget Flashman, is essentially this British officer in the height of the British Empire in the Victorian days, and he's basically the template for Kane. He too has this sort of false reputation for heroism, and he's always trying to get out of things, only to wind up in them anyway. The difference is that Flashman is kind of an irredeemable asshole, whereas Kane, even though he thinks that he is sort of a self-serving and cowardly bastard, in many ways he is a good person. It's just that by the standards of the 40K setting, he's not a very good Imperial officer, let alone a commissar. He often thinks of himself as the kind of guy that people in his profession ought to be shooting for cowardice or desertion. So, if you want a good starting point into 40K, those are what I would recommend as your starting points. It's both of the series are pretty lengthy, but you really only need to read one to get an idea of what kind of story it is and what kind of universe Warhammer is. So, I think those are pretty good introductions as far as the books go. I don't know enough about the video games to know what would be a good starting point. I think, though, obviously, so far I've enjoyed what little of Rogue Trader I've managed to get through. And, Space Marine 2 is doing really well, like gangbusters. Come on, almost there. God damn it, this is an annoying start to a stream. Yeah, so there's some pretty, well, yeah, I'm sort of past the starting point thing, but if you can get in, if you can read Gaunt or Kane and decide that you're really, that you're liking this and you want to do more. Oh, again, I'm not very knowledgeable in other aspects of the setting, apart from the lore, but I do know a lot of good books to recommend if you decide to get into it. Oh, well, of course. I mean, 40K, of course you see it everywhere. 40K is so memeable, too. It's not surprising that, pop culture osmosis, it is everywhere. It is everywhere. But yeah, let's see. Some other pretty good 40K books to recommend if you check out Gaunt or Kane and decide that you want more. Day of Ascension by Adrian Tchaikovsky. It's pretty new, but it's definitely pretty good. It's a gene stealer centric story, by the way. So you're kind of getting it from the perspective of the somewhat mutated looking squiggly guys who want to basically prepare the world they're on for the coming of a Tyranid hive fleet. Pretty nasty. Let's see. Oh, The Infinite and the Divine by Robert Rath. That's another good one. That's a Necron story. And I think Bricky summed it up best when he was doing a book club episode of Adeptus Ridiculous. He basically described it as two Necrons, Trazyn the Infinite and Orkan the Diviner, having a nerd war over an artifact. And what really carries that story is just the personalities of the two, and how much they hate each other, how much they clash. Orkan is always looking towards the future and has like very specific goals, while Trazyn is just all about collecting stuff, including people, and sticking them in stasis fields for his gallery. And yeah, the way they hate each other is hilarious. Yeah, the Eisenhorn books would be another great series to get into. It's like 3 trilogies by Dan Abnett again, and each sort of like the first trilogy follows Eisenhorn, the second follows, I believe, one of his apprentices, Ravener, and I think the other follows the character of Beckwin, or at least like a clone of her. But to sort of explain how that would be way too much of a tangent to get into. Like a really good Space Marine story. That would be definitely Aaron Dembski-Bowden's Night Lords trilogy. Oh, we're almost there. Finally. Damn it. Yeah. If there was ever like a story that can actually make you sympathize with traitor Space Marines while also not shying away from just how horrible they are, then yeah, the Night Lords trilogy is good stuff. It really strikes that perfect balance that you see how bad they are. Oh, come on! At this rate, what's even the point of doing this stream? At least you're moving faster. But god damn it. Ugh. Come on. Finally. Well, is this thing actually starting or what? It says running, but I don't believe you. Oh, finally. All right. Another loading screen and we're stuck there. Dang it. For a second there, I was wondering if it froze on me. Okay. Before I start, chat. Because, like, I'm hearing the game just fine, but are you guys? Because last time, for whatever reason, it wasn't, the game noise wasn't coming through. What's this? Yeah, I know. I'm trying to see if I'm going to try, because like I've already wasted so much time with the damn loading screen. I'm going to try a little bit, but if I don't, then, we'll just have to go without the game sound again, which is annoying. I was hoping I could get rid of this and like to resolve this in the first. Let's see. Anything on your end? Something's not right, because like that's up, but this is not going. And this isn't doing something, so something is off here. Yeah, what's the deal? Oh, wait, faintly? Okay, so I'm doing something right. Let me just turn up the volume again. Get this around here. Okay. How's it sounding? All right. Now, just one last thing before I get going again. Is this can I be heard clearly over the game? At least I've gotten the sound issue resolved. Okay, then we are off. Yeah, yeah. Because so much of the last one was just on the character creation, I'm still technically in the tutorial level. This will be interesting. All right, got to get myself into the mindset of a fanatic Adeptus Ministorum priest. Praise the Emperor. Ooh, turn down just a smidge. All right, let's just first once we get to the thing. Come on, come on. La-di-da. Loading screens. There we go. Okay. Let me just quickly adjust Streamlabs. Take it down a smidge, so about there. Oops. Okay. Just reorient. Yeah, I really wish I could, rotate the angle upwards, but then, that's not a thing. Okay, let me just see. Inventory, character, journal. La-di-da. Okay, to the officer deck to meet with the master of the vessel. Person that apparently my character's supposed to be a successor to. Yeah, I still don't know what model that is. I'm certainly not an expert on the kind of vehicles. Door.
Follow my lead.
All right, we're gonna need a map. Let's see, map. Dang it, where is the orrery? Oh boy. Ah!
That is simply irrational, Lady Theodora. Assimilation trade structure would be political and economic suicide. Practically an admission of heresy.
Then suggest an alternative that will satisfy me. I have described the situation. No worse than my seneschal could have done. Make a decision. What will you do with Ion 6, Edelthrad?
I'm going to listen to
While
this.
you are considering your answer, Edelthrad, I wish to speak with someone else. Perhaps I shall hear something more interesting than incoherent mumbling. Approach.
Where's the... Oh, I guess I can't advance the screen while I'm in the chat mode. Okay.
What is this? Is this someone from your retinue, Theodora? Do you permit your people to interrupt your conversations in such a fashion?
I give that permission to those with something of substance to say. Let us see if it was worth it. This is the second candidate for the title of my successor. Step forward.
Alrighty.
Consider this hypothetical situation. Ion 6. A new world on the fringes of the Coronis expanse. High seismic activity, regular magma eruptions, metamorphic rock deposits, prospects for large-scale mining. The world is populated by natives who worship some heretical underworld spirits that protect those who offer them sacrifices.
What kind of sacrifices?
Fancy, you might say. But attempts to install ore extractors have failed for the second time. The mining crews sent to the planet's surface simply vanished overnight. My question to you is, what would you do with this poisoned treasure?
So, let's see. Very high risk, very physically dangerous situation. Possibly heretical natives, and you've at least sent 2 expeditions down that have disappeared. So clearly something, you got a hostile environment, not just the magma, maybe the natives. Nah, I don't know is not appropriate, but there are definitely 2. The cautious one. But I did say in the previous one that I will be playing an Emperor bothering priest, so that kind of leaves, I think, 2. Number 3 or number 5? Purge, or I guess a very hostile missionary work. I think I'll go with this one, yeah. The natives of Ion 6 are lost souls in need of a shepherd's crook, or a whip. I am a priest of the ecclesiarchy. I know how to instill reverence for the Emperor. There are many ways.
How exactly do you intend to convert people who smear their own excrement over their nude bodies and throw spears at the first sight of outsiders? Your past is hindering your assessment of the present. Most regrettable.
Oh well, I'm being
It is
consistent.
lamentable to see a member of the ecclesiarchy fail to perceive the line between lost souls and outright heretics, whose destiny is to burn in his purifying flames.
Yeah, I like this. I gave a straight answer to a simple question, which as I understand was still more than you could do.
Insolent, ignorant upstart. How dare you?
Edelthrad, I believe I gave you an assignment on this ship. Explain to me then why my senior congregator is still dawdling about the officers' deck, instead of proceeding to the middle decks to commence the inspection of the compartments in his purview.
I wonder what a congregator means.
I beg your forgiveness, Lady Theodora. Your presence has such a profound effect on me that I well forgot the time.
Sycophantic lick spittle.
So, why are you here?
Lady, you're the one who called me for this.
You have ceded the opening that was offered to you in a woeful display of meekness. Admittedly, this tendency is equally strong in all who toil in the Emperor's service. Immutable hierarchy, absolute obedience, lick-spittlery, compulsion to please. I value none of these things. From the moment my envoys came for you, the terms of your existence changed. My name is Theodora von Valancius Massimo of Scaris. I am a rogue trader in the service of the God Emperor of humanity, and my rights and freedoms are vindicated by a most sacred relic. The warrant of trade, kept aboard this very vessel. Mine is the honor to venture into the darkness, beyond the Imperium, and carry humanity's light where powers wicked and heretical reign, and bow death and ruin to us all.
So you're basically a grimdark evil version of Starfleet. Yeah. It would be interesting. Like I said at the top of this, very unlikely, but it would be interesting if Cavill at some point reveals that the Amazon project will be a rogue trader series.
It is my decision alone to determine the fate of whatever I find past the bounds of the explored void. Every world I discover, along with all there is to find.
I wonder who these
thereon.
two are.
Resources, people, riches, and mysteries is mine by right. I
First come,
command
first served.
millions of lives, rule over numerous planets, and possess fortunes that no planetary governor or commander could dream of amassing. And you are one of those with von Valancius blood in their veins and a rightful claim to this inheritance when the hour comes.
Well, I'm certainly not going to go 3 because the Master Whisperers guy already mentioned another candidate, so presumably there are other heirs. Resolution.
Yes, you would be, wouldn't you? The question is, am I ready to choose you over the rest? You came aboard hours before the warp jump, and have not yet distinguished yourself in any way. As things currently stand, I have doubts that you are suitable for the role of rogue trader.
I helped put down the servitors, didn't I? It was at least more effective than your own damned crewers.
Blood right alone is not enough to earn the high honor of becoming the bearer of a warrant of trade. Nonetheless, your abilities and talents may yet prove useful. If not for the role of Lord Captain, then for that of their closest ally. Alas, even those responsibilities can at times be too challenging for those who share your blood. Kunrad Voitvir served me for many years before he made his mistake. His kinship to me is most distant, as is yours. Nonetheless, he does bear the name von Valancius, even if he avoids using it publicly, and as such, strictly speaking, can be considered my heir. That door, however, is closed to him. Voigtvir's performance in his current role is satisfactory. Or it used to be, at least.
Man, just how long and just how big and tangly is this von Valancius family tree? It's kind of amazing that this lady doesn't have an army of potential successors. Depending on how many generations and how many distant cut degrees of relation she's drawing from as a pool of potential replacements.
I have some time before the navigator gives the signal to initiate the void ship's translation out of the warp, and my presence is required on the bridge.
An incident took place on the officer's deck. Some servitors went berserk and attacked the crew.
Is that so? Perhaps the technomats were careless during maintenance. Or it could be the warp playing tricks on us in spite of the Gellerfield. Or perhaps there is something to all the stories about the ship being possessed after all.
You seem pretty blasé about a ship being possessed in your own vessel being possessed in a universe where soul-sucking demons seem to be a thing.
Lady Theodora, for the God Emperor's sake, surely you do not intend to start repeating idle rumors spread about by
Oh,
uneducated
you're Abelard.
riffraff.
Enough, Abelard. Such hearsay amuses me. Idira eagerly retells me everything she learns from the whispers of her unseen advisors. This ship is thousands of years old. It has enough hidden nooks, malfunctioning cogitators, and unused compartments to make ignorant folks speak of specters dwelling inside the bulkheads and plotting against those who yet live.
Oh, great. So, where is the ship going?
The Rykad system, the domain of rogue trader Winterscale, one of my peers and rivals. Besides me, 2 other rogue traders exist in the Coronis Expanse, and each of them possesses resources comparable to mine. Perhaps you will one day assist House von Valancius in surpassing both of them in affluence and splendor.
This sector ain't big enough for 2 of them, let alone 3.
I set the course for Rykad on the demand for a very specific reason. Perhaps I shall yet apprise you of the purpose for this voyage, but now is not the time. Observe, learn, absorb. It will take time for you to find your bearings aboard this vessel and in your new position. Eventually, I will find a post that suits you as I did for Edelthrad. Until that time comes, consider yourself my aid.
Not going for that one. That's a bit too simpering.
In that case, I shall head to...
Oh, great.
Disturbances reported on the adjacent decks. Seneschal, if the need arises, protect the new blood. It is possible that the chance to prove your worth may present itself sooner than you may have anticipated.
Oh, great. Rebels or Chaos troops? One or the other. I'm guessing Chaos.
I won't heed your cries of mercy.
All of you will bleed!
Oh, great. Right. We're effectively surrounded. They can't possibly escape us now. Alright.
For now.
One fewer target.
Oh, wow. Maybe we don't...
Took care of this one.
Maybe we don't need to worry too much after all. Woo! I like Mort. Oh, I can always appreciate a good heavy weapons guy. Good lord. He's not even like 7 feet away and he missed. And like Abelard wasn't even under any cover. There we go.
Suits my purpose. Nothing of value has been lost.
Well said. Yeah, critical hit. Don't need to understand any more than that's extra damage.
Chaos guides me.
If it guides you anywhere, pal, it's guiding you to damnation. And trust me, it ain't worth it. Woo! Gotta love exotic weaponry in the 40k universe.
Reduced to dust.
If Cavill does do a Space Marine story, it would be quite appropriate for him to come up with some kind of
Let's see how they respond to this.
a relic weapon for one of his characters to use.
All too easy.
Ow. Crud.
Just a minor setback.
I can handle this. Gotta hurt.
Woo!
Fewer targets.
Where do I get a gun like that? Is that one of the privileges of inheriting from a rogue trader? Gotta be. Oh, now the reinforcements arrive.
Take a team with you and clear a path to the transport line. Do not let a single whoreson survive. Didn't bat an eye when that scum burst onto the deck, huh? Not bad. I have seen many an officer who panicked at the sight of combat on the upper decks. The false sense of security offered by their position makes them that much more vulnerable to the harsh realities of warp travel.
What are your orders?
Mort has gone on ahead to clear a path for us. If you want to make yourself useful, go after him and see if the Arch-Militant requires aid. And be quick about it.
Okay, then. Alright. He hasn't been gone long. What do you mean a delay? Let's see. Yes. Candles on computers. That's how you know this is a 40k, a ship. Everything is gothic and baroque. We'll see. Map. Oh, god damn it. I really wish there was like a quest marker. Oh, well. Oops. Gotta reorient. Oh, what's this? Ah. Probably some Von Valencius ancestor. Gotta reorient. Oh, yep. Nice. Something's going on down there. Oops. I am gone. Oh boy. Thank you, little pointer thing. Aha! We've got us a firefight on one of the lower levels. That's quick. Oh, there are the heretics. What's this? Okay.
I'll pass.
Gotta reorient. Ah, there's Mort. That's a glorious heavy weapon. Okay.
Thank Providence you are alive and well.
Oh, you.
Always on time, eh, Coonrad? The moment we finish
it's just after the fighting's done. You could set your chrono by it.
I guess the question is, would he be a traitor? But then again, it would be a bit too obvious to have this to have a guy like this be it. But I wouldn't be surprised.
Hold yourself together.
What, did the Lord Captain send you to chivvy us along? We're all done here. I'll report right away.
Master of Whispers, what is happening on my ship? The Voxnet is silent. The Vox Master is not responding. Armed assailants have stormed the officer's deck, and my arch-militant just destroyed several more heretics on the way here. Is this a severe case of warp madness? Have some of my crew lost their minds and forgotten who they are and whom they serve? Report!
I have not yet received word from the Engineering regarding any Gellerfield failures, but communications were already unstable half an hour ago, and now they have ceased altogether. Whatever the
Oh,
cause may
lovely.
be, the consequences are spreading fast. I am receiving scattered reports from the middle decks, and the only Voxcasts from the lower bays are one-way heretical gibberish. That the madmen have already reached the officer's deck suggests that this outrage was planned in advance. Perhaps this is an organized mutiny.
Nah, I mean, everybody. I don't know if you would ask that question if you were anywhere familiar with the fact that heretics go nuts. Yeah, this sounds like a proper emperor bothering thing. Execute the traitors, every last one.
First, we have to confirm that the bridge and the navigator's sanctum are secure. And I have the means to do both things at once.
And why is that not reassuring?
Edelthrad, where is he? I must know if he is unharmed. A psyker aboard a ship that is potentially being assailed by the warp could pose a greater threat to himself and others than a whole army of madmen with improvised weapons.
Oh, is Edelthrad a psyker? Interesting.
I tried to locate him, but the last thing known about his movements is that he arrived on transitional deck 18.
Blast it! Master of Whispers, find Edelthrad immediately. Seneschal, locate Tlas and the Sister of Battle. Both are to remain at my side. Arch-militant, with me. I must go to my study. And it appears we might encounter heretics along the way.
If I may, Lord Captain, transitional deck 18 is at the heart of the disturbance, and if our goal is to bring Edelthrad back, I could use some support. After all, I'm not as adept at directly confronting enemies of the House as the esteemed Arch-Militant, and taking into consideration Edelthrad's psychic powers.
Then it's settled. Find Edelthrad and bring him here. In whatever state you find him. This elevator leads to restricted compartments such as my personal chambers and the bridge. Do not let me down. I require you both. You understand?
Very well.
Not everything in your power. You will do as I say. I'll have your heads if you fail. Is that clear? Then move out. Mort, come.
Very hard to please the Lady von Valencius.
Are you ready to head to 18? It is a long walk, and you do not even have proper gear.
I shall make do.
Of course you will. Lady Theodora would never have someone she couldn't rely on as one of her heirs. But that is no longer relevant.
Is it, though? All too obvious. All too obvious. I'm actually a little disappointed. I was kind of hoping it would be someone a little less obviously scummy. One of those statues has what looks like an omniscient axe. Interesting. Maybe a past association with the Adeptus Mechanicus. Alrighty. What do you have in mind for me, Conrad scumbag?
Careful, careful. Be gentle with our guest. He has an important mission to complete during our visit to the Warren Chamber. And for that, I need him breathing. Ah, you are back with us, I see. Delightful.
I'll bet it is for you, scum.
How perceptive of you. I'll help you with the next insight. I need you here for your blood. You have the option to share it voluntarily, or I will squeeze it out of you myself. We are in the anteroom of the Warring Chamber, this void ship's most hallowed vault. There, beyond those gates, lies the relic that gives Theodora all of her power. The sacred warrant of trade. Only one obstacle remains on my path to obtaining it. The gates of the chamber are guarded by the Sentinel, an ancient device that will only open the door to a true heir of the dynasty. I expected to do this part myself, but never mind. You will offer your blood to the Sentinel.
I feel like insulting the bastard. Inbred. Huh. Blood too thin?
On the contrary, the Warp's blessing is raising you above your kind, Fon Valencius. The Sentinel refused to submit to me, but you can help. After all, isn't that what family is for?
I'm definitely going for defiance. What sorry, pathetic excuse do you even have for your apostasy?
Wretched. What do you know about wretchedness? Theodora's cur. Are you hoping to buy a grain of her indulgence with your blind loyalty? Oh, I know this delusion. But thank the gods it no longer has power over me. Humanity can rot. I no longer serve mortal kind.
No, you only serve yourself and a bunch of creepy gods. What a step up.
Once my work is done, I'll make that pompous wench Fon Valencius watch as I sacrifice her entire dynasty and commit their fate to the gods. And you will be the instrument by which I will accomplish this righteous act.
I'd say go fuck yourself, but I don't know the exact words for that in High Gothic. Definitely I would try to defy this. Oh well. At least I didn't do it willingly. Interesting. Archaeotech relic. Alrighty. Drat. No weapons. Well, no point in dragging this out. All I can hope is that the von Valencius family was prepared enough for treachery.
High levels of caustic humors. The subject is in a state of heightened stress. Do you require assistance?
Oh, most definitely. Well, that's good.
Request accepted. Initiating defense protocol.
Aha! My instinct was right. Preparations. Die, heretics! Die! Burn in holy fire!
There is still another way.
Oh, is there? Ooh. Yes. Dead heretics. And my God, look at this. Oh, the skulls and the gothic imagery. Man. Like, given how much Amazon wasted on the Rings of Power, they better be willing to pony up at least something for production values at least as good as this for what Cavill has planned, whatever that is. Oh, and look, the shadows, like, you, even if you can't look up, you can see sort of a lattice from the work above. That's a nice touch. Okay.
It's about time.
Enough appreciating the scenery. Ooh, coat of arms. Oops. Went a little too in there. Valencius. Some kind of astrological device. I'm guessing that's a V. Yeah, definitely a V. And it's a hand clasping a scroll. A bit obvious is for the heraldry, but whatever. Wonder what that chain signifies. Oh, another of the statue. That's got to be a navigator. The third eye is kind of a giveaway there. But okay. The warrant of trade. Let it be known that by my will and by the true words of this document, I appoint this person to be the bearer of the warrant of trade and bestow upon them and their dynasty a great mission, to be the paragon of humanity, unbroken by adversity, to walk bravely first into darkness, to reunite and reclaim what was lost, to triumph over nightmares untold, to hold boldly the reins of fate, to walk steadily the road of thorns. Drat, I missed that last line. Something about greatness. Damn it.
Escort the child of the house to safety.
Ah.
Voxcap frequencies disrupted. Initiating setup. Establishing connection.
Yeah, it is. High-tech and gothic. I think, like, if you're familiar with, like, Feral Historian, he kind of sums up the aesthetic of Warhammer as pan-second millennium. And I think that's a really good call. Because, you know, if you look at 40K, there's obviously the medieval elements, but there's also a lot of Imperial Rome. There's also, with especially the vehicles and weaponries, there's like a World War II aspect to it. So, and like, even like, the way that naval officers dress, especially, there's like something of the 19th, 18th century vibe to them. So it's literally across, well, you know, apart from the Roman bits, I think, and he was kind of right on the money there.
Faster! Restore communication with the navigator's sanctum. I'm trying to contact the bridge. If anyone can hear me on this frequency, regroup all available forces and head to the upper decks at once.
Pan-second millennium, that's what he called it. It's not entirely accurate because, again, you know, the Romans, like the Roman stuff is very much before, you know, 1000 AD, which is when the second millennium began. You know, we're technically in the third millennium now, post 2000.
Communication protocols breached.
Alrighty then. If communications are down, I'm definitely gonna need a weapon.
Distance from the current location to the nearest arsenal. Initiating situational calculations.
Alright.
Temporary obnubilation following acute stress. Mobile unit of the Warren Sentinel standing by.
Obnubilation? I'm definitely looking up that one. Let's see. Obnubilation. Definition, please. The clouding of consciousness. Yes.
Temporary obnubilation. Mobile unit of the Warren Sentinel designed as a personal escort of the child of the house and a means of communicating with the rogue trader's subjects. Mobile unit standing by.
Alrighty then. Literally an extension of the Sentinel. Okay.
Middle and upper decks. Assuming the probability of safe placement in areas of concentration of armed units. Calculating. To prevent unauthorized units from breaching the warrant chamber, preemptive sealing must be initiated. The mobile unit will start executing the received order immediately after the safety of the warrant is secured.
Okay, so gotta lock up behind me. Woo! Oh man, it's like literally it's a giant scroll. Kind of wonder how. Let's drat. Nah, text is a little too ornate and obscure. And of course, it's mostly in Latin. Well, High Gothic, but it's basically, you know, Latin mostly. That's some pretty potent promethium. All right. Okay. Talk to the Sentinel. Oops. There we go. Seal the warrant chamber. Alrighty then. Ooh. Oh, great. Fucking heretics.
Run, fools, or fall.
Ooh. Chainsword. Nice.
Master, whatever are you doing in the warrant chamber? How did you? Throne preserve me. What is the meaning of this?
Well, Kunrad's a traitor, as if his slimy demeanor didn't make that obvious.
What?
Still don't know exactly what his revenge.
Oh, holy God, Emperor. I presume he is the one responsible for the mutiny. And, Master, I wish to remind you that you are to refer to the Lord Captain as Lady Theodora. Saints' blood! Then it is small wonder that the heretics are so well organized. I thought his order to seal the passages between decks was his attempt to stop the attackers from spreading to other levels. But now I see the real reason. It was to stop the enforcers from intervening. At least you are alive, and now safe, Master. Alas, I doubt we can afford to look for a compartment to sit out this disaster.
Well, that wouldn't be much use anyway.
You're in a bad way. I can treat your wounds. I have a Medicaid kit. And, for the love of the throne, now is not a good time to be walking around the decks without means of self-defense.
Alrighty.
Here.
Oh man, this is gonna get real complex real fast. Okay. Oh, okay. So basically, there's a time priority to injuries. Future Medicaid skill. Oops. Inventory. Okay. Sword, stub revolver. No, I can't equip that apparently. Oh, there we are. Well, of course. Melee combat is definitely a thing in 40k, and it's best to be prepared for both scenarios. Well, I didn't expect to be making friends. An old injury. Let's see. Oops. Med. Consumable. Wonder if cannot use apparently.
I'm at your service. Let me help. I stand in recognition. That is a notice.
All right.
Now you're prepared for the trials ahead. The lower decks are teeming with heretics instigating the rabble to revolt. But that is the least of our problems. The ship's enforcers are rounding up the strongholds and suppressing the resistance. The situation on the middle decks is much worse, although strike teams have already been dispatched there. All communication with the bridge and the engineering bay was lost. So, apart from scattered voxcasts, we have no information to go on.
All right then. We'll do it, to quote Bill O'Reilly, we'll do it live.
But that is not the worst of it. All these jolts and shaking are most alarming. These are signs that the navigator and the master helmsman are having difficulty translating the ship out of the war and into real space. I fear that they may have already lost control. We must reach the navigator's sanctum and get a handle on the situation. Lady Theodorus. Which one? The last one I received was about the navigator's sanctum, and that was a good while ago. In any case, let us hope that the Lord Captain is well, and safely in charge of the ship's defense. In the meantime, we must do all we can to prevent the ship from veering off course. I am no helmsman. Oh, God Emperor preserve me, navigator. However,
Mutant hatred.
I've spent my entire life aboard void ships equipped with warp drives, and I know that portents such as these do not bode well. It could be that the Geller field has faltered. Perhaps the navigator was struck down by warp corruption and is fighting for the last shreds of his humanity as we speak.
Oh, so we haven't gotten the girl yet. Because the one that's like becomes a party member later. Alrighty.
If we get thrown off course, we will be forever lost in the war. Naturally, we would likely not have long to live in that scenario. But I will not resign myself to such an outcome just yet.
Well then, I appreciate your optimism, Abelard.
Absolutely. Let us proceed.
To arms, loyal sons and daughters of the God Emperor! Fight the heresy and corruption that threatens to consume our home, and with all your might, destroy those who have dared!
The Lord Captain is calling her crew to battle, which means the Vox networks are set up for broadcast transmission, not message exchange. Splendid. While the rogue trader inspires proper resolve to fight in her subjects, you and I shall prove that her trust in us is well deserved. Onward.
I appreciate your sense of duty. Oh, great.
I'll see you terminated.
Come to chaos.
More of them. The cover options are not great. Oh, for a moment I thought that was Kunrad. Yeah. Yeah, you all say that. Alrighty. I think
Suits my purposes.
okay.
Stand a chance?
2 for the price of 1. I like it. Okay, looks like I'm done anyway.
Death to the weak. I serve the ruinous powers. Chaos guides me.
Ooh, I think he killed one of his own guys. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's see. Let's see.
That's not the Seneschal's job.
Alrighty. Nice.
Victory is imminent.
Ah, bastard parried. Okay. Well, I don't have any burst weapons. At least I don't think so. But just in case.
Nothing I can't do.
Ugh. How on earth can you miss?
Out of my way.
I'll live another day.
Chaos guides me.
Ugh. If only you could be as useless as the armsmen against the servitors. Chunky y salsa.
Not a problem for me.
Ah. At least I dodged that one.
To non-believers.
Ha! Ah! Wow. Moron shot his own guy. Oh, drat. Too far for a charge. Oh, well. Let's see if I can...
A tactically sound approach. I'm not interested.
Ah, damn it.
I will do my check your aim.
Oh, well, that was fun. I'm taking a hit from my own guy. Just for that.
Nothing I cut hurting me was your biggest mistake. Doubt is for the weak.
Indeed. Let's see. Character. Oh, I guess I'm not quite up there, up to that yet. Huh. Hmm. Oh, okay. Well, I've already got that one. Good grief. So many stats to go through. Ooh, that sounds real nice. And let me just check that again to make sure. Okay, so it's just, these stat bonuses. Okay. Yeah, I think I just checked off something without meaning to fully. But oh well. No point whinging about the past. Honestly, he still has that. Okay, so basically it's a bump to his aesthetics. Definitely makes sense for a guy who wants to get into melee range. I think I'll go with this one. Let's see. What's this? Aha! Get the loot. Ooh, a las pistol. Yeah. Not as much damage. Interesting, though. Lower chance of the enemy to dodge. That's something. Let's take a few of those.
What advice do you seek?
They say a little bit of humility never hurts anyone. I help others better themselves by wholeheartedly humiliating them at every step. I won't tolerate weakness.
Righto. That's nice. Finally, something that will actually help me move around. And the Psyker.
I hear it here on the threshold of the blinded guide. Doom comes from the heavens.
Master, watch your head.
Oh,
Dearer, would it be too much to ask that you phrase your soothsayings plainly for once? That was too close.
Sorry, old man. The voices are so loud I can't even hear myself. They shriek, they sing, they... Oh, Abela, how they sing.
I am definitely going to be executing you at some point, Psyker.
This is Idira Tlas, personal psyker and diviner of Her Ladyship Theodora von Valancius. Idira?
I'm not drunk, old man. I'm suffering the effects of the warp that is seeping through these walls. I see the ship's fate. To die in the waves of the immaterium, fall under the burning rays of the final dawn. And in the roaring blaze, I see a figure standing. Who is it? I have no answer.
Because of course you don't. This sort of stuff is always cryptic. Oh, great. Still in there, huh?
The whispers called me. The ones I could make out among all the screams and screeches. Those who are rocking this boat hit us where it hurt. They went after the navigator, our guide through the warp. Other whispers called me to the enginarium, but it was too late. I heard the cry of our master cog, and the silence that followed.
So I guess the head engine seer is dead. That would explain why we end up getting the tech priest later to take his place.
What? You don't mean the engine seer prime is...
Dead, without a doubt. And the voices wail, heralding countless nightmares, cackling at each soul among the hundreds that are now joining the warp. The shriek from the navigator's sanctum was louder than the rest. And it's better that we saved the navigator than some lever puller from a cooling module or a cook from the middle decks.
The sad reality of priority.
Officers frequency. To all who can hear me, those with a weapon in their hands are to gather on the officers' deck at once. I repeat, gather on the officers' deck at once and prepare to launch a counterattack.
Mort?
That's Edelthrat.
Oh.
Oh, Emperor's Providence. The other heir lives as well. Quickly, we must head to...
Not so fast, old man. If we drown in the warp, Lady Theodora's heirs won't be any good to us. If Edelthrat's like me and hasn't yet surrendered his mind or body to the mercy of the warp, then he can still hold on a little longer without us.
Blast it. You're right. First, we need to deal with what is happening here.
The voices from beyond the threshold whisper to me. Sometimes their murmurs are clear, they grant insight. Sometimes they drive me mad. But I am patient. I know how to listen and discern. But now, with this clamor around me, too many voices, too loud.
Yeah, for that creepy laugh alone, I'm gonna find some excuse to purge you, witch.
And you are von Valancius, one of Lady Theodora's heirs. Well then, we finally meet.
No need to ask a psyker how she knows. Oh, joy.
But we're not just going to stand here and take it, are we? The state of things in here suggests there's a navigator around. Maybe one who's crippled or at death's door, but still kicking. And since our skin hasn't peeled off our faces just yet, his third eye must be closed. At worst, it's a little roughed up. So what are we moping around for? Let's go protect that noble mutant while we're still alive.
Is that a vaguely Jamaican accent? It's definitely Caribbean. Alrighty then.
How may I serve the dynasty?
Okay. She's not leveled up yet.
I tire of idleness. Let's move.
Ugh. Warp fuckery. Never a fun time. Oh, the walls are bleeding. Joy.
Did you want something?
Okay, I guess that means we're not going anywhere that ways. Oops, wrong one. The map. Where's that map of the ship? Ugh, annoying. If we can't go that... Aha! A door that can be opened.
Doubt is for the weak.
Alrighty then.
Sometimes you consult.
I'm always ready.
Uh,
Death will find you soon enough.
don't have to worry about friendly fire here.
All too easy. You didn't stand a chance.
Ah. Interesting. A lot of debuff stuff.
They who discern the future on the battlefield.
Let's see.
Was that you? Or no can do.
Okay, so I guess that's that for her.
Let's make it quick.
Stop it!
Death to the weak.
See if I can...
Beck and call. My place is at the fore. Indeed.
I serve the ruinous powers.
Of course you do.
Guides me.
It's why you're a heretic.
Suits my purposes. Opposing me was your biggest mistake.
Cover me.
Oof.
Follow my lead. Reduced to dust.
Alrighty. Ew. Doesn't look like the warp's really gotten into him.
I believe Master Spider still lives. Well, the servants are dead, but the chamber, thank the Emperor, is still sealed from the warp. Well, we have a chance of leaving this place alive.
Wounded, exhausted, fighting back the endless horrors of the warp that are forcing their way into his head. Pick one.
Your time is short. Fall to your knees, mortals, and behold the final dawn.
Ugh. Oh, great.
It came from beyond. His body is not his.
Yep, that's a possession.
Its march thunders under the burden of hopes. Unseal your hearts, and I will flood your souls with myriads of words and meanings, each one a portent of salvation within me.
Sounds like Zinch.
Run. Flee from this place while I still have the strength. I can contain the intrusion, but not for long. We must begin the translation. Leave the warp. But it can't be done without the Master Helmsman's help.
Well, can't kill you yet, even if you are a mutant. We still need you alive.
The ship can only begin the translation with the assistance of the Master Helmsman, if he is still alive. It is worth a try. We must get to the bridge, but we will need support. Our only option is to fight our way to the officer's deck and join forces with Ethelthrad and his people. I believe we will also find Lady Theodora there. She must have heard the call to arms that the servo skull relayed to us earlier.
The spiders. Good luck. And thank you.
Oof. And on this dark and terrible note, I'll stop for the night. We'll probably resume sometime tomorrow on Sunday. Thank those few of you who decided to tune in. Hope you have a lovely evening. But yeah, things are getting interesting in 40K, and especially with Cavill getting his show. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how he pulls this off. And just how much Amazon might try to interfere with him.